Don Rickles was born Donald J. Rickles on May 8, 1926, in Queens, New York, and grew up in the Jackson Heights neighborhood in a working-class Jewish family. His father, Max Rickles, worked as an insurance agent, while his mother nurtured his early gift for humor and quick observation. Even as a child, Rickles displayed an instinctive sharpness, an ability to read people and respond with lightning speed. After high school, he briefly studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, dreaming of becoming a serious actor rather than a comedian. Like many performers of his generation, he sought stability and artistic respect before discovering where his true strengths lay. Those formative years, shaped by discipline, ambition, and resilience, laid the groundwork for a career that would eventually redefine American comedy and establish Rickles as a singular voice, unlike any other. From wartime service to the comedy stage. Following his service in the U.S. Navy during World War II, Don Rickles returned home determined to find his place in the world. He served aboard the USS Serene in the Pacific, an experience that instilled structure and perspective, but also sharpened his sense of humor as a coping mechanism. Like many veterans, he struggled initially to gain momentum in civilian life. Rickles began performing in nightclubs, originally attempting dramatic monologues and serious material. When audiences responded with indifference, he instinctively began teasing hecklers and improvising insults. The reaction was immediate and electric. Laughter replaced silence, and Rickles realized he had discovered something powerful. Rather than fighting his natural instincts, he embraced them. That decision marked a turning point, transforming a struggling actor into a comedian who would soon pioneer an entirely new comedic style. Inventing insult comedy with heart, Don Rickles carved out a place in comedy history by doing what few dared to attempt. Instead of carefully structured jokes, he confronted audiences directly, firing off rapid insults that spared no one. What made his approach work was not cruelty, but timing, charm, and an unmistakable sense that the humor came from affection rather than malice. His nickname, Mr. Warmth, captured the contradiction perfectly. Rickles mocked appearances, professions, and egos, yet audiences felt included rather than attacked. He treated celebrities and everyday people the same way, leveling social hierarchies through laughter. This fearless approach redefined stand-up comedy and influenced generations of performers who followed. Rickles understood something essential. Comedy was not about pleasing everyone, but about creating connection through honesty, surprise, and emotional intelligence wrapped in sharp wit. Hollywood acceptance and Sinatra's seal of approval. A defining moment in Rickles' career came when Frank Sinatra attended one of his nightclub performances. Instead of treating the superstar with reverence, Rickles teased him mercilessly from the stage. To everyone's surprise, Sinatra loved it. Their friendship became legendary and opened doors throughout Hollywood. Sinatra introduced Rickles to powerful figures, bringing him into an elite circle that few comedians ever entered. Rickles soon became a regular on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and a standout presence on the Dean Martin Celebrity Roasts. His fearlessness earned respect even among those he targeted. Hollywood recognized that Rickles operated by his own rules and that authenticity made him untouchable. His success was built not on conformity, but on confidence, proving that originality could triumph in an industry built on image control. A career beyond the comedy stage. While stand-up was Rickles' foundation, his talents extended far beyond nightclub stages. He appeared in serious films like Run Silent, Run Deep, and later showcased his comedic timing in movies such as Kelly's Heroes. On television, his sitcom, CPO Sharky, allowed him to channel his signature sarcasm into a structured narrative. Rickles also became a beloved talk show guest, known for derailing interviews with spontaneous humor that left hosts struggling to keep control. Decades later, he reached an entirely new generation as the voice of Mr. Potato Head in Pixar's Toy Story franchise. The role preserved his comedic spirit while introducing him to audiences who knew nothing of his nightclub legacy. Few performers managed such longevity without sacrificing their identity. But Rickles never softened his edge. Love, marriage, and a private side few saw. In 1965, Don Rickles married Barbara Sklar, a relationship that became one of the most grounding forces in his life. Despite his public persona as the Merchant of Venom, Rickles was deeply devoted to his wife and family. Barbara's calm, grounded nature balanced his high-energy world, offering stability that fame alone could not provide. Rickles often admitted that romance had been difficult earlier in his life, as his sharp wit could be intimidating in personal relationships. What drew him to Barbara was her refusal to be dazzled by his humor. She saw past the act and valued the man beneath it. Together, they built a marriage rooted in loyalty, humor, and mutual respect, enduring decades of industry pressure and personal challenges that might have undone a less stable partnership. Family, loss, and quiet strength. Don and Barbara Rickles had 2 children, Mindy and Larry, both of whom pursued creative paths. Tragedy struck when Larry died of pneumonia at the age of 41, a loss that deeply affected the family. For a man known worldwide for laughter, grief became a private burden. Rickles rarely spoke publicly about the pain, choosing instead to protect his family's privacy. Friends noted that the loss softened him, revealing an even deeper sense of empathy beneath his sharp exterior. In later years, Rickles found joy in his grandchildren, who saw him not as a comedy legend, but simply as a beloved grandfather and the voice of an animated toy. This generational contrast delighted him and offered perspective on a career that spanned more than half a century. When comedy meets resistance throughout his career, Don Rickles thrived on reaction. His comedy depended on engagement, laughter, and emotional exchange. Occasionally, he encountered personalities who did not respond to his style, and those moments unsettled him more than outright criticism. Rickles once acknowledged that comedy, at its core, was about connection. When someone remained distant or reserved, it challenged his instincts as a performer. Rather than hatred, what Rickles sometimes experienced was frustration, an inability to break through emotional walls using humor alone. These moments revealed how deeply he cared about his craft. For Rickles, laughter was not merely applause, it was validation of shared humanity. When that response did not come, it forced him to confront the limits of comedy and accept that not everyone expressed joy in the same way. Aging, legacy, and staying true. Unlike many entertainers, Rickles never attempted to reinvent himself to fit changing cultural norms. He trusted his audience to understand the spirit behind his words. Well into his 80s, he continued performing, appearing on television and giving interviews. Though his pace slowed, his mind remained sharp. Rickles took pride in maintaining authenticity, believing that honesty mattered more than universal approval. His later years were spent largely at home in Century City, surrounded by family and longtime friends. Even as health challenges emerged, he remained engaged with the world, grateful for a career that exceeded every expectation he once held as a struggling young actor. His longevity was not an accident, but the result of unwavering commitment to who he truly was. The final curtain and enduring impact. Don Rickles passed away on April 6, 2017, at the age of 90, leaving behind an extraordinary legacy that shaped modern comedy. Tributes poured in from across the entertainment world, honoring not just his fearlessness, but his generosity, loyalty, and influence. He was laid to rest at Mount Sinai Memorial Park in Los Angeles, among fellow cultural icons. Rickles' life demonstrated that comedy could be sharp without being cruel, fearless without being hateful, and provocative without losing humanity. His work continues to inspire performers who value authenticity over approval. More than the insults, it is his timing, courage, and emotional intelligence that endure. Don Rickles did not merely make people laugh, he changed how laughter worked, and that impact remains unmistakable.